This is the weekend edition of Fear and Greed Daily Business News for people who make their own decisions. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Now, Sean, our weekend show is vastly different to the weekday show. It is about the two of us each nominating what we think is the biggest business story of the week, the most remarkable business story, a sleeper story, one that's not getting the attention that we feel it should, and then our favourite business-ish story, and it is a fierce competition. So we are joined every week by a judge to pick a winner, and that judge is our Fear and Greed colleague, Adam Lang. Adam, good morning.
Good morning, Michael, and good morning, Sean.
I don't want to turn this into a football show, Michael. I really don't. But
However,
Adam has been, look what he's wearing this morning.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Adam, a West Australian, I like to add, is a ferocious Swan supporter. Big day for the Swans today. And Adam's like top to toe. In fact, I think that face tattoo was a bit much.
it's just makeup. It'll
Sure.
stay on for a good week, though.
Comes off in 6
And
months.
you with red hair, quite odd.
So we're going to have everybody rushing now to social media to check this out, and they're going to be so disappointed to
Yeah, I know.
see that Adam does not have a face tattoo. Adam's hair is its regular dark brown.
Kefirred self.
Perfect. Anyway, but you are looking resplendent
Hmm.
in your Swans paraphernalia.
Vintage
It's-
jersey. I don't quite fill it out the way I used to.
Most of us go the other way. We fill it out far better than we used to, whereas you, Adam, quite the opposite.
Getting increasingly lean. Look, we best get on in the spirit of competition because, Adam, I know that you are very excited about today's grand final.
I am.
Let's treat today as a bit of a grand final.
Excellent.
This is big. This
Good.
is really big. And I'm going into this with a heck of a lot of optimism.
Okay.
I had to pull myself up there, remembering that this is a family show and you can't say words like hell,
Wow.
which I just did. What are the criteria that you are looking for today, Adam?
Okay. Yes. And to the point that it's relevant to each of you, topicality, timeliness, economic impact, of course.
Mhm.
Now, then comes my subjective bias, and we do like a little bit of melodrama.
Good.
Good. I've got that.
Good.
So it's like cross,
Covered.
cross, tick. Here we go. But let's jump into the biggest story of the week, shall we? And
Yes. Michael, why don't you go first?
I approach this with a certain degree of trepidation because Sean's abdication of all things economy. And when he said, what was that, 4 weeks ago now, that you'll never do the economy again this year.
Yes. I think it was a form of protest at the judge. However, don't let
Both
that
of you,
stop you.
not just you, Adam. No, Michael as well. Both.
I was innocent. I did nothing. You were just cranky because your economic story lost. And then you said you weren't going to do it again. Anyway, because you're no longer doing it, as a result, you had best strap yourselves in. Because the biggest story this week was all economics, and the duty, the heavy burden of winning this category and explaining everything that happened in such a turbulent, monumental week for the economy. Well, that burden falls now to the man of the people, which makes sense, really, because in a way, the last week, the economic news was all about the people. It was about the Reserve Bank leaving interest rates on hold, and then really the big show on Wednesday, the monthly inflation numbers. Now, bit of substance here. I'm not just all kind of.
Yeah, we haven't heard it yet. Go on. Yes.
I'm announcing that I'm getting to the substance
Yeah,
here.
good.
It shall be
'Cause
brief.
so far, nothing's happened.
How am I going for the melodrama points so far, Adam? Just out of
Yeah,
interest.
pretty high, but at some point we need some substance.
Well,
Hello, Dolly.
here we go. Limbering up here, the Reserve Bank.
Come on, bring it in, big boy. Bring it in.
It was no surprise. It was no surprise to me. It was no surprise to you or to you that the Reserve Bank left rates on hold. Nobody expected an increase. Nobody expected a decrease at this meeting. But what was interesting, what was particularly interesting, was that the Reserve Bank board didn't really discuss hiking rates, not like they did last time. It wasn't even really a realistic option that they were considering. They didn't really discuss cutting rates either.
What did they discuss? They didn't discuss lifting. They didn't discuss cutting. What, like they discussed the scones they were having? What do you reckon?
I suspect there was. Mostly
Pudding.
catering.
Yeah,
Like, I have it on good authority that it was the catering that was being discussed, mostly. It didn't make it into the minutes, or it might. We'll see in a week and a half. But it is more of a neutral position than we have seen previously, which is actually, neutral doesn't sound big. Neutral is big, right? And of course, the big
Neutral.
focus,
Ooh.
the big focus for Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock is getting inflation back into the target band of 2 to 3%. And on Wednesday, oh, wow. Oh, I still have not even recovered from this. What a story. Monthly CPI numbers showing headline inflation falling sharply to 2.7%, back in the target band. That was a big drop, but of course, largely due to power bill rebates. If you strip away those volatile items, and Sean, I have been listening to you, we love to strip away those volatile items. It's what we live for, really. A good volatile strip. Really lost my train of thought here. Kind of too much froth. The thing is, if you do that, you will find lurking beneath it, you will find the trimmed mean, the underlying inflation number. Now, this is absolutely critical. It is hard to describe just how critical it is.
But you'll
This
try.
number was, I will do so. I will do my very, very best. It was 3.4%, not in the target band, not in that 2 to 3% target band. Still away from it, but it is heading down. It is going in the right direction. It is moving, I would say, with a little bit of momentum in that direction. We are officially, I don't know whether it's official if I'm saying it, but we are somewhat officially on the path to interest rate cuts. It may be some time away, but at least we are now officially or unofficially or semi-officially on our way. It was Lao Tzu who said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and this week we took that step.
Whoa. Lao Tzu.
Yes.
As in Chinese philosopher, Taoism. Is this dude?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because rates stood still.
This week, we took that first step. Inflation dropping once again. Yes, once again, admittedly, not necessarily a first step, but it is a big step. So it's the first big step, right? And it feels different, you know? I'm going to say it. It's the vibe. It's the vibe of the Reserve Bank.
Marbo.
It really feels like we are on our way. Maybe it's headline inflation being back in the target band. That's big. Maybe it's the fact that now, for once, for the first time in, well, what feels like a lifetime, the Reserve Bank board is just sounding a little more optimistic. Or if not optimistic, a little more neutral.
A little more nothing.
This story affects every single person in this country, every business, everyone with a loan, every single person. It is without a doubt the biggest story of the week, and I hope that I have done it justice.
Oh, dear.
Take a little sit down, Michael.
Yeah. Have a Bex and lie down.
He's out of breath.
You know, Michael's in trouble when he's quoting Chinese philosophers from like 2,500 years ago. Holy cow.
The wisdom remains current, Sean, and it applies to the Reserve Bank.
And you know he's good at economics when he decided that this is the week where the first step towards the target band happened. He's clearly been listening for the last few months.
I said the first meaningful big step, the biggest step.
On the 1,000-mile journey.
Yes. I mean, so maybe they took a couple of small steps, but you don't really pay attention until a bigger one.
They were just warming up before the...
Yeah.
It's kind of like the second K, the third K in your run. The first one's always just a warm-up.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Biggest story of the week. Have you started yours, Sean?
I will.
We're just analysing mine.
All
right
I'm just going to say is same old, same old. The biggest story of the week. Something that was different. Something that actually happened. Something that really mattered. not something we've been talking about for 18 months. Involves the two big supermarket chains, Coles and Woolies. It absolutely beggars belief that they could possibly be guilty of what the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is alleging. So the watchdog claims that the supermarkets offered certain products at a regular price for at least 180 days. They then increased the price of the product by at least 15% for a relatively short period of time and then put it in their prices dropped program. So it's called Prices Dropped at Woolies, down at Coles. In one example provided by the ACCC, Woolies offered the Oreo Family Pack Original 370 gram product for sale for $3.50 for about 2 years, almost 2 years. The price was then increased from that $3.50 to $5 for 3 weeks. And then it was placed in the Prices Dropped promotion with the ticket showing a Prices Dropped price of $4.50. So 2 years at $3.50, 3 weeks at $5, and then into Prices Dropped at $4.50. There's a similar example for Coles. I'm not picking on Woolies here. The ACCC has examples for both. These are totally untested allegations. We haven't heard from Coles and Woolworths, but clearly the ACCC thinks it has a case. Who in their right mind at the big supermarkets thinks it's okay to treat customers this way? Like, is it a marketing person? Is it the CEO? Is it a price strategist? Is it a revenue officer? Thinks that lying to customers is okay? So when I wrote this in the newsletter this week, when I thought about it, I thought, is this worse or better than the banks? Now, with the Royal Commission into Financial Services, really bad stuff emerged, right? But it was never a strategic decision made by a bank to do it. It was just really bad processes. In some cases, it was actually corrupt people, criminals in organisations. It wasn't this big strategic push to rip off customers. If what Woolies and Coles, well, what's being alleged about Woolies and Coles actually happened, this is like a strategic decision to rip off customers. It looks more deliberate. It's so bad, it's actually hard to believe that it could be true. Now, Graham Samuel, I saw, came out yesterday, Friday, and he used to run the ACCC, and he said, look, don't get too excited here. It might be the suppliers doing it. Maybe the suppliers are forcing Woolies and Coles to do it. So maybe there's something behind it. And that's why I think it's really important we hear the supermarket's response. But if the ACCC allegations are proven true, goodbye any positive sentiment to supermarkets for the next decade. Goodbye to share price performance, at least in the short term. It's just an incredible story to think that this actually could go on. So, Adam, what I offered to you is a story of substance where something happened that no one knew about, except for the ACCC maybe, for months and months and years, as opposed to something that is just another step, same old, etc. But the Woolies Coles story to me is just, it has sort of blown me away somewhat. Over to you.
Very good. Great battle. Two massive stories. Sean wins. Now,
Michael's
the only Michael, on this one, look, I actually thought you over-egged it on the melodrama. I know that's a bit of a shock.
No.
So I often give you maximum points because it's so brilliant on the melodrama. But on this particular occasion, I actually think you went overboard a little. So, look, well done, because you really did try and sell it in. Oh. And it is great news that the trim mean measure of inflation has come down from 3.8 last month to 3.4. It's still only the monthly reading, not the quarterly reading. And we know there's a bigger basket of measures in the quarterly reading that will come out at the end of October. So I think that's a more substantive measure, but it is good news. I think that's right. A very, very big story. But the Coles and Woolworths one, and Sean, you didn't do it in kind of flair on melodrama, but the seething feelings within it, very good. Like very measured delivery of the story there. Compliments. So, yes, you didn't quite lift the melodrama, but you really did give us a great story.
Didn't need it.
You win.
Big enough story. Now, can I just suggest, right, if we were looking at each other, and maybe we should put a picture of the three of us on social media, I reckon if we were talking about our haircuts and inflation, right?
Yeah.
I reckon Adam would definitely be the trimmed mean. I would be the underlying, as in not much there.
Uh-huh.
And Michael, undoubtedly, especially when he takes his earphones off, he's headline. He is total headline with that buff. You're the trimmed mean. I'm the underlying. Not much going on there.
Very good.
God. We're heading into new territory here today. I don't think we've ever tried to compare hairstyles to inflation. Yeah. Well, look, I think that's a reasonable decision, Adam. As
I don't like that.
I was hoping for a little protest.
No, well, as Confucius said, humility is the solid foundation of all virtues. And I'm confident that I have a win coming my way. Sean, would you like to go first on the most remarkable story?
Yes. What's remarkable this week is what's going on among all the retailers. It is one singular hell of a story with a number of parts. Firstly, online luxury retailer Setai share price jumped almost 80% after the group's financial accounts for the last financial year received auditor sign-off. This is a company you ring up. It's a luxury goods company. You order your luxury good. It doesn't really have a warehouse. It comes straight from the manufacturer generally. There's been all sorts of issues about how duties in that are paid, how revenue is recognised. Anyway, Grant Thornton provided an unqualified audit opinion. The accounts went through. Setai's books look okay. Share price up 80% in one day. Pretty phenomenal. Then we had a story about billionaire Solomon Lew's Premier Investments postponing its planned January demerger of Smiggles, the kids' stationery chain. It wants to do a deal to sell its retail apparel brands to Myer. It wants to focus on that. However, it is still pushing ahead with the potential spin-off of Peter Alexander. So for some reason, they've decided, let's hold Smiggle, push ahead with Peter Alexander. That some reason is that sales at Smiggles have actually, the growth rate has declined significantly. That's what that's about. Premier says there's still merit in the potential demerger of Smiggle, certainly of Peter Alexander, but it wants to look at the Myer thing. Then the most remarkable story of the lot. In fact, this one is truly remarkable. The others are like fairly remarkable. This one. And we've got the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age to thank for this story. Mosaic Brands. So, Adam, would be a Rockman's man, a Miller's man, a Rivers man? Katie's, Noni B? I'm guessing not.
I'm not deep in any one of those in particular.
Yeah.
More Sydney Swans jerseys at the moment.
Yes, they don't sell Sydney Swans jerseys at Rivers, I find.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mosaic Brands own those groups, Miller's, Rockman's, Katie's, Rivers B, Noni B. They're hoping, they basically didn't provide their financial accounts at the end of August. So they've been suspended ever since. They're hoping to stave off financial collapse by asking global suppliers to actually not accept the terms that they did the deal with. They want to pay them as little as 1/3 of what they're owed. Now, the suppliers are from China, India, and Bangladesh. They're owed tens of millions of dollars. In most cases, according to the report, Mosaic Brands has sold the garments received from the suppliers, taken the money, and then didn't pay for them. Mosaic Brands is a big company, about 4,000 staff, 700 stores. It claims on its website to be the largest specialty company in the country. I'm not sure if that's right, but it's certainly one of the big ones. This is quite incredible. They've actually just not paid their suppliers. And can you imagine some of the workers, and I'm not suggesting there's any supply chain issues here, but I bet someone working in a Bangladesh factory making clothing for Mosaic isn't getting paid a lot of money. And in fact, the board of, it's a peak body in Bangladesh, wrote to Mosaic and said, this isn't right. You need to pay the factories that are producing your products. I just think that's quite an incredible story. And Mosaic, we will hear a lot more about that over the next week or two or three. Not sure whether Mosaic will make it. Certainly shares are suspended. Plenty of amazingness going on, particularly among the smaller retailers. And that's why it's my most remarkable story. Michael.
Well, it certainly was a long story. I want to talk about something that is quite remarkable, truly remarkable.
You're not selling it in very well.
And considering this category is, in fact, most remarkable, it seems out of all of the categories that I could choose to do this story, this seems like the place to do it. I want to discuss the outsized impact that China has on Australia, has on our economy, on our exports, on our business community. Why am I doing this now? you ask? This week, oh, that went a bit high, didn't it? I'm very passionate about this. This week, Beijing made moves, significant moves to stimulate its economy. Now, we are talking spending measures to stabilize the struggling property sector and forceful, that is a quote, forceful rate cuts. Now, this stimulation sounds very erotic. Stimulus. This stimulus has...
Who does it sound erotic to?
I suspect most people driving along in their cars at the moment going, oh, stimulation. Oh, that's a bit erotic.
So let's take a sample size. Adam, yes or no?
No.
Sean, no. Michael?
Yes.
100%.
Well, I'm the man of the people. And you two are a pair of kind of stick in the mud. Like, it's just like
trimmed means and underlyings.
Yeah, exactly. We go for the headline. Headline inflation over here says that stimulation is erotic. That's not a sentence that I thought would ever come out of my mouth. And I've got to say, I actually regret it.
Your stories are much more fun than mine. I mean, I know they're very good stories, but they're just fun. Like, I reckon if I was listening to this show on a Saturday morning, I'd think, oh, right, I get through it, Sean. I know it's relevant, worthy, all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Come on, Michael, bring it home.
Get to the big fella. This stimulus, right? We're moving past stimulation. Stimulus has had a remarkably huge impact on us here. And so, Adam, I really want to just kind of point out some of this to you because the price of iron ore jumped. And that in turn meant the share prices of our three biggest miners rose twice. In fact, there were two kind of separate big movements here. Once earlier in the week when there was a more measured sign from Beijing that they were going to do this. And then again later in the week when they went all out on kind of hitting China's economic goals. Oil prices picked up. The Australian dollar, the all-important Australian dollar, absolutely critical, hit a record for 2024 and then went higher still. It is really quite remarkable, don't you think? And it's really demonstrated on a week like this, just how reliant we are on China as an economy and how a political decision, a political butterfly, if you will, flapping its wings in China can cause an economic and business typhoon in Australia. Demonstrated in real time this week. And as an interested and engaged observer of all of this stuff, of markets, of economics, of trade, I just had to take a moment.
Of all of this stuff.
I had to take a moment this week to just sit back and reflect on how truly remarkable it all is.
What did they do?
A stimulus.
Yeah, but what was it?
Well, forceful rate cuts, for one thing. Spending measures to stabilise.
How much was the rate cut, Michael?
It was forceful. Well, it was across a number of interest rates. Like if I was to go through, you know what? Is there anything about this face that says I'm a details guy?
Don't go beyond surface deep, for God's sake.
I'm sorry if I have misled you, but I am here purely for the entertainment.
Sorry, that did feel a little cruel.
It feels as though you targeted me.
Oh.
That's fine. It's fine. I just feel like I deserve at least one, maybe two pity points. Please, go on.
So remarkable. I'm going to give this one to Michael. I know that's a tough call. Melodrama was very good, just short of over-egging it for me. And surface deep on the detail, as we found out. But, you know, the single % drop of interest rates, the support of the economy, it does matter to us. And I think there's a remarkable element is that China's taken so long to do this. They could have done it 6 months ago, but that it has actually happened to me is remarkable. So well done, Michael.
You know, that story could actually be the biggest story, the China story, really.
True.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Then I thought there's a real risk that I would need to do additional research.
The people don't want that.
That's right. Anyway, all right, 1-1. We are even. Let's take a quick break and come back with the sleeper story of the week. All right, Sean, we are looking for a sleeper story of the week now. A sleeper story is, as it always is, a story that's perhaps flying under the radar a little bit, not getting the attention that it deserves, or is going to become a bigger story further down the track, in which case the fuse was lit for that story this week. Shall I go first on this one?
Yeah, you go first.
I want to talk to you once again about the Reserve Bank for my sleeper
Okay.
story. Not just about, forget everything that I talked about so far, okay?
We have.
I want to talk to you about the Reserve Bank. Thanks, Sean. I want to talk to you about the Reserve Bank, about Australia's financial stability, and about the threat of AI. Right now, this is a sleeper story because in a week where all eyes were on the Reserve Bank board meeting and then on that inflation data, which has still got me excited, nobody was really paying attention to the Reserve Bank's financial stability report. But I was. I was paying attention. And thank goodness for me, because I'm using...
I think that Michael's internal voice just came out there. Thank goodness for me.
I am going to use this platform, this podcast. It's not even a microphone. It is a megaphone to draw some attention to the risk that AI poses to Australia's economy. Nobody is talking about this. Everybody, Adam, is never a good sign when the judge starts laughing at the statements. And that wasn't funny. That was me setting the scene.
Can you remain professional,
My
please? Adam?
apologies. Sorry.
You are supposed to be impartial. No one's talking about this part, right, of the AI risk. Everyone is too worried about autonomous robots and your vacuum cleaner suddenly trying to kill you. No. Looking into the Reserve Bank's crystal ball, the big issue ahead of us is the digital economy, including AI, which has, of course, led to greater speed, leading to greater efficiency, which all sounds good. Right? Wrong. Because it comes with more risk, significantly more risk. If something goes wrong, there's a lot more interconnectedness. The complexity of it all, that is almost impossible for me to quantify, the complexity. But what the Reserve Bank has done this week, and by extension, what I have done as well, is cleverly identify that the digital economy is actually one of the top 3 threats, and that includes AI, to Australia's financial stability. So this sleeper story has the potential for catastrophic consequences if steps are not taken now to address it. Consider yourselves warned. And if this story was a little bit long, allow me to summarize in 4 words: killer vacuums, financial collapse.
Okay.
Done. Sean.
Yeah. My sleeper story of the week. Adam. Negative gearing. That's it. I've won, haven't I? I've won.
Oh, that is compelling.
For Adam, it is. Now, this is the story that won't go to sleep. It's back again. It began when 9 media newspapers this week reported that Treasury has been asked to do some modelling around negative gearing and house ownership. The stories didn't actually say who asked for the information. Now, Michael, do you know what negative gearing is? Would you like me to help you out on what negative gearing is as it pertains to housing? I will.
I know what negative gearing is, but please do.
So if you're a property investor, you can deduct losses from running the rental properties against your income tax. And then when you sell the property, you get relief on capital gains tax. 2.3 million Australians own an investment home. We're talking about $48 billion in rental deductions. That is a lot of people. That is a lot of money. Any change to that is absolute political dynamite. When the story emerged, everyone jumped in. Peter Dutton, opposition leader, gave what he called an absolute guarantee to not change negative gearing. He said it doesn't pass the pub test. Then Greens housing spokesperson Max Chandler-Mather repeated calls for the Labor government to negotiate with his party over negative gearing. Now, that just upped the problem for Labor, really, because the opposition immediately started calling it a Greens policy. The Prime Minister then spent 3 days fighting really hard to play it down, but it is there. Mr. Albanese said he wasn't sure who had made the request. He has no plans to make the change, but they're the kind of weasel words, no plans to make changes, plans. As analysts pointed out, these are the sorts of weasel words that he talked about 12 months ago about the stage 3 tax cuts. Back then he promised not to change the tax cuts, but ultimately that's exactly what the government did. This story has the potential to cost the government the federal election. Remember the Mediscare campaign that helped Scott Morrison win power? The ramifications of this financially and politically are absolutely huge, and it won't go away. It's a sleeper story because it wasn't here last week. It's here this week, and no matter how much the government says we're not going to do it, the opposition, the Greens, will keep talking about it. It'll just rumble underneath the surface, and it could well contribute to the result of the next election. Negative gearing, Adam, negative gearing. Tax reform.
Yeah, no, that's a good story that's been around for quite some time. So anyway,
Sly.
Okay, Sean, you have to win this one, and against those stage 3 tax cuts, because we know what was said and then we know what happened. And I think this is, as you pointed out in the newsletter this week, this was kite flying, but I think there's more to it here, and I think that there is genuinely a really strong sleeper element to this story. So well done.
Thanks very much. 25 points to 3.
That was all right. Let's bring it home. What's your favourite story, Sean? What are we, 2-1?
2-1. Look, I am on the spot changing my favourite story because I was reading something in Nine Media. This week, my third son finished year 12 and they had formals and
congratulations, Sean.
Graduations and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things that I noted, particularly the more drinks I had, the hairstyles of the young ones. Wow.
Okay.
Talk about diverse. But then the more I thought about it,
mullet,
it became a bit 90s-ish.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
It became a bit 90s-ish.
Okay.
And then I was reading the Sydney Morning Herald website, and apparently there's a trend to Oasis hairstyles.
Oh, well played.
And
the Gallaghers.
So apparently if you want to show your allegiance to Oasis, and now Oasis, of course, are touring next year. They've reformed, Noel and Liam, assuming they don't beat the crap out of each other on stage before they get here. I mean, these guys have sold more than 75 million albums. What's the story, Morning Glory? Who hasn't somehow thought Wonderwall was one of those great angst songs of your life? Remember that? They're back, and hairdressers are reported to be continually asked, can we look like Noel and Liam Gallagher?
Oh,
now,
my word.
I really saw this at the graduation at this was a Sydney high school. It's not a good look either, by the way. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, it's basically put as a natural progression from the shag and mod hairstyles of the 1960s and 70s. That's kind of that Rod Stewart, Jane Fonda look.
Yeah.
And then the Gallagher, is it Gallagher or Gallagher? Gallagher, isn't it, brothers?
Gallagher. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of often resembles a lazily grown-out Beatles mop top that's been attacked with nail scissors. So massive hair at the crown, wispy sideburns. It's kind of like, I think it was Coldplay's Chris Martin said it looks like a geography teacher, and that's about right. It's sort of shaggier.
And so this is your favourite story of the week?
Favourite story of the week. Adam? No, not Adam. Michael.
Not yet.
It's the only man who could possibly have any chance of getting an Oasis hairstyle of us three. He's Michael. Well, to be honest, I was actually going to talk about, the Star Entertainment getting a rescue package and all that. And it's like, yeah. I mean, a good story, 200 million. Then the Queensland government hit him with a $60 million tax bill. So, I mean, that's part of my story.
No, you either do one or the other. You do not get to blend those. Do not give him business points for the Star reference during his mullet story.
All right.
Can I talk about something related to business now?
Oh, if you want. Michael, you should have realised what you got to do now. I don't believe that anybody feels the way that I do.
Oh, please stop. Just, no, let this stop.
You now. Go on.
I've had a serious day so far. Reserve Bank and interest rates and inflation and China and financial stability reports and all of this kind of thing. And I feel we need to discuss something that everyone can connect with. Because do you know what yogurt is? Adam, do you know what yogurt is? It's not what you think.
Oh.
It is not what you
Not
think.
a culture? No?
No. Well, it is, yes. But yogurt is the people's dairy food. You've got your fancy cheeses, your brie and your camembert, and you've got your various curds and your ricotta. That's upper class dairy, right?
Burrata?
That's what I like to call snob dairy. I'm here to talk about yogurt, the people's dairy, because yogurt is booming in Australia right now. It is having its moment in the sun,
which isn't good. Which is good. Yes.
No, not good for yogurt, is it? Hopefully not too long. But Australian consumers are now spending, get this, $1.92 billion a year on yogurt. Bega, which is the biggest yogurt producer, owns brands, household names. Farmers Union, Dairy Farmers, they know yogurt, right? And Bega says industry-wide sales of yogurt are up 11% last year. 11%, that is phenomenal growth. It sure beats milk. Milk, where sales only rose 2%, which makes sense when you think about it, because who wants milk in liquid form when you can get it thick and lumpy in the form of yogurt? Yogurt, ladies and gentlemen, is milk you can eat with a spoon. And now you get high protein yogurt for muscle gain and probiotic yogurt, which is great for gut health and reduced sugar and all of those kinds of things. It is affordable too. Cole says customers are buying larger tubs of yogurt because household budgets, of course, are being squeezed. They're buying single serves as well. It does sound a little bit like big yogurt has got to me, but I am an advocate.
Big yogurt.
Yep, big yogurt. It is my favourite story of the week.
What we did find out this week as well, Adam, is that Michael every morning likes to have a Weet-Bix, yogurt on top, and whatever the seasonal fruit of the moment is on top of that. And that's what he's had for breakfast for many, many years.
Michael, I know this will be a shock to some listeners, but not to you, Sean. Michael quite likes his routine in general.
He does.
and has the same breakfast daily. The same
I'm
one.
a creature of habit.
I'm guessing it has the same time, the same bowl, and maybe even the same spoon.
Possibly.
There might even be Michael's same spot at the table.
Yeah.
Would that be any of that be close to the pin, Michael?
I like a particular spot.
Oh.
And that includes at the table, on the couch, in the car. I just like to know that is going to be where I will be sitting.
Now, are you prepared to sort of share with us, Michael, what was Sean's sort of feedback to you this week around some of these aspects of your life?
As you would imagine, there's been plenty of feedback.
Constructive criticism.
There was this a confession that she made that only now is she realizing the many red flags that she ignored prior to deciding to spend the rest of her life with me. She's locked in now.
She didn't say that, did she?
She absolutely did.
Oh,
yes.
Sean, what a cracker. Oh, that's magnificent.
Brilliant.
And I'm sure she means it
in a loving way.
In a loving way.
I'm not sure how that works, but
I certainly love her reaction, and well played, Sean.
Look, we are so far into this show. We are so over time. Adam, you've got to give us the score for the last one.
Okay.
The favourite.
All right. So, Sean, I'm sorry, and this will shock you, but the economic impact of the Oasis hairstyle craze is a 0. So I'm afraid you lose this one for favourite story of the week. And Michael's yogurt story will triumph.
So what about the hairdressers? What about their small businesses?
Well, that's true.
Very
True.
lack of detail in the judging.
Ooh, okay. All right, then. I'll revise that to 1 point.
He didn't even mention that. He didn't mention it during his story. You can't change the score now.
Okay, so on that basis, fair point, and 1 point for economic impact for Oasis's hairstyle craze. Because it may indeed lift some business, and don't we all need that? So, Michael, you win story for the week. That's 2-all. So you win favourite story of the week, 2-all. It's a dead heat on the points, 88 points each.
No. In that case, I object. I am lodging an appeal because that extra point that you scrounged there at the end, Sean, has cost me my victory.
Adam, I think you and I think we should give it to Michael.
Yeah.
Because it's such a shallow win for him now. Because he can walk away and say, I won. Well, I sort of won. I mean, they gave it to me. And that's kind of more fun than a draw to me.
Okay.
Well done, Michael. 88-87.
I'm revising my revision. Michael, you've won on points.
This does not feel good.
Oh, come on. Swim around in the victory.
Oh, I will. I will bask in it for a little bit, and I shall remind you of it, that I won with a story about yogurt.
There were so many red flags.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Adam. Great judging today. Make sure you're following the podcast, and please join us online on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was Fear and Greed. Have a great weekend.